All right, the most in-demand developer skills in 2025. Let's get straight into it. So first of all, I run slashdev.io and we hire hundreds of developers, interview thousands of developers from around the world. So we have a really good pulse on what skills are in demand. So if I just dive right into it, obviously full stack, JavaScript, we're talking Node.js on the back end. We're talking any modern JavaScript framework on the front end. So React being number one, Next.js, even Gatsby as well are great frameworks, Vue.js, etc. JavaScript is an excellent ecosystem for web development and in huge demand. If we look to backend, Laravel has a huge community and you have tons of companies building Laravel applications. The speed of development is super fast and I would say close to unrivaled when you look at how fast you can build a ERP system, CRM, or other system. Laravel just really makes it easy, and there's lots of companies building with it. Then I would say Golang if you're looking at more performance-intensive applications, and just because of that, it's more and more popular that clients are building with Golang. So a very good skill and also a high earning skill. Typically, companies building in Golang are happy to pay a bit more for an engineer with good experience in that skill set. Python, of course, is the number one programming language that's out there and also a great programming language for freelance development. Obviously, a lot of the LLM tools, machine learning tools are built on Python. You have frameworks like Django that are really great frameworks for building traditional backends for like an ERP or CRM system where you have a lot of the types of functionalities that you're going to need in those systems already predefined. There's a lightweight Python backends as well, like Fast API, but really can't go wrong there. And those would kind of wrap up the core web technologies outside of, you could of course say Java, you could of course say C#, but those are just not the most in demand, I would say. Those are more legacy companies that have those. Bigger companies, really newer companies, startups are building more with JavaScript, with Laravel, with Golang, Python on the back end. So definitely there's lots of opportunities for C#, .NET, as well as Java, but Java especially is even more phased out than .NET, but much more opportunity when you look at JavaScript, Laravel, Python, Golang. So then when we look to the other side of development, when we look at maybe like, let's say app development instead of web development, obviously the cross-platform frameworks are excellent. So we have React Native, we have Flutter. Both Flutter and React Native have hundreds or thousands of applications on the App Store built in them. And when you look at like Fortune 500 companies, it's fairly evenly split who's building with what. So you really can't go wrong with either framework. It's just really preference. Maybe if you're already building in JavaScript, it's kind of nice to stick with React Native. If you want to use all the Firebase tools, Flutter's obviously going to plug into that slightly easier. Both will plug into it very easily. And so really, whenever we're doing an app, we always look to do cross-platform. It's just the tools are great these days, and then you can get Android and iOS straight out of the box. Of course, native iOS and Android development is still heavily in demand. I would say it's like 3 times the demand for cross-platform developers, but you're still going to have a lot of demand for native iOS, native Android developers. And then to add a final category here, I would say it's really important these days to make sure that you master AI tools, that you can use those to develop faster, that you understand DevOps and you understand architecture, because those are really the things that are going to set you apart, right? So if you're just a guy who knows how to build a React front end, but you can't deploy it, you're not using LLMs to make your work even faster, you don't know how to handle architecting it in a way to where it can handle a lot of data and still load in a very snappy way, cache all of that, preload stuff on hovers, things like that. You need to think about the architecture for this application because that's really what's going to make you stand out and what is going to lead to a client hiring you. So that is what I would say are the top most in-demand developer skills for 2025. Hopefully that helped you out and it's time to get back to building. Cheers.